As many of you know, Israel is a very important issue to me, and Donald Trump has chosen a complete and utter, unmitigated disaster to be the United States ambassador to Israel. I cannot explain to you how horrible this choice is, although I'm going to try. And as you may know, my views on Israel are sometimes caricatured as right-wing or hard right by some people in our audience, particularly on YouTube. The reality is that any honest assessment of my views can't possibly come out with that verdict. I am hugely against Benjamin Netanyahu and those types of right-wing religious coalition Israeli governments. I'm completely against settlements in Israel. I'm against unilaterally moving the capital of Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And this is a big issue of contention. So within Israel, the sort of conventional wisdom is Jerusalem is the capital. However, Jerusalem is currently disputed in the same way that Gaza and the West Bank are. So internationally, Tel Aviv is considered the capital of Israel. And even though Israel might like to officially move the capital to Jerusalem with regard to international law, so for example, the United States Embassy is in Tel Aviv, not in Jerusalem. If Israel were to say, yeah, move it to Jerusalem because that's the capital, that would be hugely destructive and damaging to peace talks. So that gets us to David Friedman. Donald Trump has selected David Friedman to be the United States ambassador to Israel. First and foremost, Friedman is an expert in being a predatory capitalist, a bankruptcy lawyer who is aligned with the furthest far right in Israel, really true deplorables. But what's most important is what are Friedman's views on Israel? Well, they're ridiculously dangerous beliefs. Number one, Friedman said he looks forward to doing the job from the U.S. Embassy in Israel's capital of Jerusalem. The embassy has been in Tel Aviv. The status of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel is in dispute, and it would be hugely damaging to any possibility of peace to make the unilateral decision to move the capital to Jerusalem before that has been negotiated, and if it ever is negotiated. I can't explain to you how damaging this is. If you want real peace talks, unilaterally moving the embassy to Jerusalem is a very, very bad idea. Now, here's where it gets even crazier. Friedman is actively pro-settlements. Now, let me give you a sense of the spectrum here, the scope. If you don't follow this issue closely, I'll give you sort of a cheat sheet. A very, very left position on settlements would be go in and destroy every Israeli settlement. Okay, that would be like a very, very left position. A moderate left position would be stop all settlement construction today and agree to remove the settlements that can be practically removed, reasonably removed as part of a peace agreement. And then you do meaningful land swaps for the settlements that can't be practically removed. This is my view. Yasser Arafat was conceptually okay with the idea of meaningful land swaps for the settlements that can't be removed. That's a sort of moderate left position. The center right to right wing position is the settlements that exist now are fine, but Israel could agree maybe to stop building more. Friedman said that he doesn't believe it would be illegal for Israel to annex the West Bank, and he supports building new settlements there and all over Israel. The position of even more settlements is so extreme and so outrageous that it will make what is already, I mean, let's be frank here, it's an uphill battle with regard to serious peace talks right now in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. An ambassador who says more settlements is arguably one of the worst 3 or 4 characteristics that an ambassador to Israel could have. J Street is opposed to this nomination. Now, J Street, most reasonable Jews who are liberal in the United States realize that this is a terrible, terrible choice. And to give you a sense of how out there Friedman is, Friedman compared J Street to capos, the Jews who cooperated with Nazis during the Holocaust, basically saying J Street is a group that is super, super liberal. I'll remind you that J Street is way, way, way too conservative for many anti-Israeli liberals in the United States. And Friedman comes in and says J Street and its followers are sort of like Nazi collaborators. this is a bad, bad path forward. It's difficult for me to imagine a worse pick than David Friedman if the goal here is serious peace talks. And of course, in the background of this is that Donald Trump thinks that his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is going to show up and negotiate peace. This is a fantasy world. I mean, Trump is living in a total fantasy world with regard to how he thinks the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is going to improve under his leadership. The idea that Friedman as an ambassador and Kushner as a peace negotiator are going to do anything to help is absolute and utter nonsense. Really, really disturbing to anybody who wants serious peace productivity or a movement in the direction of peace in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.